Hey guys, we are live. This is Jennifer from the Shooter's Mindset. We are here with episode 325 of the Shooter's Mindset. We've got our co-host Greg here tonight. How's it
Hey,
going?
everyone.
You have a lot of green going on. That's some conflicting green right there. I'm not really sure about that, but anyway. And our guest of the hour is Marchand Hovrid. How are you doing?
I'm great. It's good to be with you guys.
It's so good to be here. I haven't seen you since let's see, it's been right at a year at SHOT Show.
Yeah,
We had good
that's fun.
times on
That
like
was so much fun.
on the high roller, and we won't talk about the rest because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right?
It does.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure if you look back a year on TSN, we might have gone live on the high roller that night, actually.
We did? Who did that? Who's
I
dumb
think
enough to do that? I'm going to kill you one day.
I don't doubt it, and thanks for saying that in front of all of our viewers. If I end up missing, dead, something, we have a suspect.
Yep. It was probably justified though.
Probably.
So, Marchand, for those of us that are like, I'm not unfamiliar with you because you're my homie, but for people that are not familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into competitive shooting.
Well, I'm Marchand Hovrid. I'm from Washington State. My day job is dental hygienist, which I really enjoy.
So I
Shooting,
need a floss.
yes, flossing is important. we
I'll
don't
get
judge,
yelled
though.
at.
We just encourage. We don't judge. As far as shooting, this 2020 would have been my third year of shooting precision rifle, but things went a little sideways. Crazy year, so I'm looking really forward to starting off 2021 and getting in some matches. But yes, I've been shooting for about 3 years, and I kind of got into it like kind of roundabout way. I started out doing some bird hunting, and then I wanted to shoot big game, and then I wanted to find a way to be a better hunter. But I didn't really know what that might look like in terms of a competitive sport. And several years ago, I went to the Portland Sportsman Show with some friends, and there was a booth there of Blue Ridge Ranch, which even though I was in Portland at the time, I live in Eastern Washington. Blue Ridge Ranch is like an hour and 15 minutes from my house. They had a video of precision rifle playing at their booth, and so I was like, "What's this?" And they encouraged me to come and help out at some matches. And so I took them up on that a couple months later, and kind of just haven't stopped since that moment.
That's awesome. I know you kind of got into it, and I think we were kind of both starting up at the same time and trying to like, grow and get better and like grow our skills and kind of get into the game. So, kind of at the same time, I know all that was kind of happening.
It's been
So,
interesting just even seeing the sport grow in that period of time. Like it's moving fast. It's kind of exciting.
yeah, and the women's part has grown so much. Like, I think right about the time that me and you both got into it, like, it just has like exploded with females, which is great. And I know we've had the females, the ladies PRS dinners at SHOT Show and all, and that's been great, I think, to let us
Yes.
all connect. And, there's not very many of us. You might go to a match and there's like 10 females out of 220 shooters. But then when we get together, it's kind of nice to get together and kind of compare notes and have that camaraderie. I think the women really do well with that.
Yeah, that's been one of the most impressive things, I think, is that, probably most of us we probably have great friends that are non-shooters, but maybe they don't want to talk about shooting on, for hours on end. And so
I know they're like, you do
together
what?
and we can do that. And then it's so supportive too. Like everybody's so great. And
I always
yeah,
say that the women of PRS we have a lot less drama than the men of PRS because we all kind of lift each other up. And I feel like there's a little bit of cat fighting going on with some of the men in PRS.
Aw,
So
never.
I think it's kind of funny how women get like the reputation of having drama. but I don't think it's the women.
Yeah, this is like a total no drama mama kind of a group, which is, again, like when I started ROing too, I mean, I was really looking for something. I wanted to learn and I liked shooting, but I wanted, an activity that was going to be, kind of a fun activity as well. And I remember just kind of sitting back and watching and being, thinking even like men and women that if this is, if there's poor sports, if it's negative, if it's just toxic, like this is not going to be something that I'm going to want to do. And, it doesn't take long to figure out that this is just a great sport and great people. And then, on top of that, like getting to meet more and more women as they're coming into it. I think the first match I RO'd, and I didn't even really realize it was a national level match. Like I didn't even know what anything was. I didn't know what an NRL was or PRS or anything. And, Ray was there and I think Regina was there and I was just incredibly impressed with them. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm so in. Like, I really, really want to do this. And I didn't really know what that meant. I still RO'd for a while before I even got a rifle. But yeah, it's a great sport. And yeah, it's incredibly positive. It's nice to see, people really support one another and businesses and shooters. And it's been a good time.
I think that's great. I mean, you mentioned Regina and Ray, and I think both of those are amazing ambassadors for the sport and getting women into it. And I do think for any female that's watching and is like, well, I might want to do that. Like, it is totally not cutthroat. We are all about getting each other, like, oh, there's somebody new, let's go help her, and trying to get more women into the sport because we would like to have more women doing this. So
Exactly.
it's just a lot of fun to kind of get it out there. And there's so many good people in the sport that help with that.
Yep. Way too much fun.
I know, just like Keely that we had on last week. I mean, I know y'all are good friends and she's great too.
Yeah, I look forward to getting to spend more time with her last year. I kind of was like watching from the sidelines a little bit with some surgery last year. And so she had a great season and that was really fun to see her. We kind of also started, kind of about the same time, and she's just really put in the work and she's shooting great.
That's awesome. And telling her husband how to reheat tortillas.
Yo, all right.
We won't go into that.
No, I would like to make a point here. The point of reheating tortilla, you want to steam it, right? So if you take the tortilla and you wrap it in a wet napkin or paper towel, and you put it in the bag before you put it in the microwave, then it becomes a steam chamber. And you got to relieve a little bit over in the corner, open a little bit of that zipper. When you open up the microwave, you're gonna have a big like bag full of steam inside of there with your nice, soft, delicious tortillas inside of it. Like you can do it just like with your napkins and on a plate, but you get so much more steam with it sealed inside of a bag. Just saying.
You killing me. Whatever.
With delicious tacos.
Not in the bag. Anyway.
You take them out before you eat it.
Well, thank God. You'd probably eat the plastic and all. So you are one of the people that are always helping fight for our rights, and specifically our Second Amendment rights. How did you get involved in this cause? And I think it's very, very relevant right now with everything going on politically. And I mean, you look at Facebook and like our co-host Anthony Cruz is like in Facebook jail again, and he didn't even really do anything. He just like talked about a gun and it put him in Facebook jail. He was not trying to sell it. He just made a comment about it and it automatically put him in Facebook purgatory or whatever. So I think our Second Amendment rights are really, really being challenged daily at this point. So how did you get into this cause and doing all this?
Really somewhat for me. Like, I mean, I started out as far as somewhat with shooting with the bird hunting, but it wasn't long after that you're starting to see things happen with the Second Amendment. So I decided to get a concealed carry permit. I decided to get a pistol, decided to get some training as far as that went, because I thought if this is a right that might go away, then I want to participate in it because I'm kind of like a nerd, honestly, about just like America. I think America is the best country in the world. And so I definitely, believe in the Constitution. And really, truly, without privately owned firearms, I mean, we don't have a country. We wouldn't have had a country. And so that right is incredibly important. So it's always kind of been something that's been important to me. And as it's continued to be threatened, I just feel like that we just have to kind of stand up for it. We have to support it. The other side is really organized. They have a lot of money behind them. We kind of tend to be a little more grassroots, but there's a lot of us, and I think we have a voice, and I think we need to take back the narrative. I think we need to play offense instead of defense. And yeah, I think in shooting sports too, we have a lot of opportunity because we can kind of showcase it as a sport and not something that's necessarily about violence or self-defense, which is important, but I think it's a friendlier way to maybe get people comfortable with firearms too. So, it gives us an opportunity to kind of showcase that and maybe turn that narrative around a little bit.
I think that's so true. Like, I posted in a group about something shooting related, and they were like, what are you trying to kill? Like, someone commented and said, what are you trying to kill? And I was like, nothing. Like, we are shooting steel. I'm not trying to kill anything. Well, what's the point? And I was like, well, what is the point of golf? Because there's not a real point of golf either. It's a competition. I mean, it's something, it's fun. It's a sport. So I was getting really challenged on like, well, what are you trying to kill? What's the point of what you're doing? Because it involved firearms. So it's very interesting how it comes about,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we can demonstrate too that there's, so many opportunities that we are around firearms, and it's very, very safe. And so again, kind of change that narrative to, away from this is something scary, it's something dangerous, and focusing on respect, but also, it can be a safe and fun sport, which is very family friendly. Yeah, so definitely kind of something that's near and dear to my heart. And I think that we can all play a part in, kind of protecting and supporting it.
I definitely agree. I think I still get the comments of like when people find out what I do, they're like, you do what on the weekends? Like, I mean, because I'm in a job that is, it's a professional. I have to dress professionally and, everything. And then people will find out they're like, inevitably somebody will say like, do you know what Jen does? They'll be like, no, what does she do? And then it's like, oh, she shoots guns, and it becomes this whole thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, let me explain. So it's kind of interesting, to see that. I'm sure it's the same with you. I mean, you're a dental hygienist. You're not like at a construction site, right? You have a job that is educated. And so people look at you then as a girl and they're like, you do what? I'm sure.
I
that
actually have in my operatory, I have a picture of my rifle in there. And so I mean, it is an opportunity to kind of, again, show it as this is a fun thing. It's a safe thing. It's a respectful thing. And so I don't bring it up. If somebody asks me about it, then, I can talk about it. But I feel like it's just another way. I feel like there's so many opportunities we have every day to try to be a good advocate. And again, make people maybe realize that if they had kind of a stereotype of what they think a gun person is, that maybe that's not what it is.
It's crazy. So what all, oh, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, I was just going to say I had one of those, and I guess the reactions I get when people find out what I do is, at least to the extent that I do, is a little bit different. I'm a man with a beard and I have on, leather boots and Carhartt pants, and that's me. So I kind of fit the stereotype of a gun guy. But I walked out of the office today and we got a whole bunch of new people at work, particularly in the management and the director level, and a bunch of them were standing around outside of my office. They decided now their congregation place is literally right outside of my quiet little secluded office, which is real fun. But they're like, hey, come over here. I'm like, oh, who signed me up to do what? And they're like, hey, these guys like guns too. And they're pointing to like two of our new directors. And one of the guys, he's like, yeah, he does guns. He like competitively shoots and he does like this podcast thing and show him your gun, show him your gun. Pull up a picture of, the beauty here. And they're just like, wow. Pretty sure one of them is going to be at my next little NRL 22 match. So it's kind of fun when people find out.
Yep, there's always room for more. So that's great. Mm-hmm. It's fun to see people get excited about it too.
Yeah. And, my way of kind of helping, I'm not so much approaching like the people that like think guns are icky and like, hey, come shoot a match, mostly to be Swanee. I have a beard by like normal standards. I was about to say,
you got any lives?
I have nothing on you whatsoever. And now Keith Baker's talking trash about my box of wine. Just so you know, tonight never mind. I'm not going to talk about what I'm drinking tonight, but it is not in a box.
Wait, I don't think that Keith talked shit. I think he just said a box of wine, and you assumed that as talking shit. Because that sounds like a guilty conscience.
Well, I'm not drinking.
That sounds like you already know that the box of wine is just a bad idea.
Honestly, I think it's just because of how much you insult my box of wine every time.
Maybe because it's insultable.
Yeah, Jen's over here. I'm like, do you want some delicious box wine or toilet water? And she's like, oh, give me that toilet water.
Yeah, if it's box wine or that, yeah. It's terrible. God, no couth at all. Any other lives?
Let's see. That's a lot of them.
A lot of them are all making fun of your box of wine?
No.
That's amazing.
See, this is not a five. It's a real beard. It's not a 5 o'clock shadow, guys.
Oh, are they all making fun of your beard? This is awesome. Wine in a box, tacos in a bag.
What efficiency.
I don't drink wine out of a box. I just want everyone to know that for the record.
She 100% will not. She will die of dehydration before that. Mark Sully, I'm so glad I work in the gun biz so I don't even have to hide it when I'm at work. Yeah, that'd be real weird if you ran into someone at work that didn't like guns. Swanee, I don't eat sushi. I'm actually scared of sushi because I watched a 3-hour documentary on parasites that get inside of your body. And like 99.9% of it was from eating sushi. The other 1% was peeing in the Amazon River and it entered through a different hole. Alan said,
Eric wants to know, what is the first match? What?
You go ahead.
What's the first match that you're going to shoot when your foot heals?
I'm looking at March, and I think I'm going to be shooting a one-day match at Rock Lake Rifle Range, which I'm very excited about. So that'll be a good first day. Like honestly, the spring in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest, is huge for matches. So there's just a ton of things. I'll shoot the Finley Cup I believe it's the last weekend of March. So that'll be the first 2 day. And then I think it goes right into like Idaho NRL. I'm looking to shoot hopefully a team match. I'm going to RO a couple team matches. Yeah, there's a lot. So hopefully I can kind of hit the ground running and get back to it. Looking forward to it. There's like really great matches too. Finley Cup is it's a memorial for Jim Finley, and it's usually a pretty tough match. Like it's a lot of wins, small targets, like a lot of times really small targets. Interesting course of fire. They do a great job with that one. I'll hopefully be doing Karstetter, which is in April, and that's a team match. And that's a really fun one. And often it rains, so you kind of really get to check out your rain gear and how well your equipment holds up to rain. So yeah, there's a lot coming up, and I'm excited about it. I've got a lot of work to do too. I've got a lot of work to do to be ready. So
don't we all?
We'll dig in and get to it.
I think we all have work to be done if we're really honest about it. There's always practice to be done. So
Exactly.
what particular Second Amendment organizations are you affiliated with? Are there particular ones?
I would say like I'm not necessarily affiliated with anything in particular. I'm kind of like anywhere I can, be involved. Essentially, in my state, there's some really great groups that do a lot of legwork. So they provide a lot of information in terms of, who to contact and in the legislature, when the bills are coming up, when the hearings are coming up. And so there's Washington 2021 Legislative Action Group, which is a Facebook group in Washington. They do a lot of work. There's Washington Civil Rights.org is another group that provides a lot of good information. Of course, there's like Gun Owners of America, NRA, NSFF. The DC Project is kind of a women's Second Amendment group. They do a lot of great work. Second Amendment Foundation. So there's a lot of different groups that people can get can kind of follow to get information in terms of what to do and then in their state. Alan Ernst is a PRS shooter that's in Washington State, and he does a ton of legwork and a lot of different things. So you just kind of like jump in where you can, try to make sure you're making phone calls and emails, and also just talking with other people, trying to encourage them to also get involved. It can be a little intimidating, I think, if you haven't done it very much. Yeah, it's like just jump in. I'm always open if anybody has any questions in terms of what to do or how to get involved. I'm always open to any questions and any way that I can help.
Well, so how can people get involved? Like, what can each of us individually do to help protect our rights? I think at this point in history, it's one of the biggest things on all of our minds. I mean, if you look at ammo and primers, it's like everyone is buying it up because they're scared, right? I think a lot of it is people are scared of what's going to happen with new gun laws and ammo laws and taxes and different things. So what can each of us do individually that will help protect our rights?
I think get knowledgeable about legislation that's coming up. So like right now, we're, legislations are starting back up again. It's not too hard to look up. Like a lot of those different groups, they may have a list of like whether things are going through Congress or through your state. So you can see what the bills are, and then I guess kind of relearn a little bit about how the process works. So typically a bill will be introduced. It will have a hearing with the committee, and then it may be voted on to die, and that's what our hope is for a lot of these gun control bills. Or if it gets passed to the entire House or Senate, then that's where it may be voted on and become into law. And there's a process too where it's going to be amended along the way, so you kind of have to follow them. You can sign up usually for like email notices on what's going on with bills too, but just kind of educating yourself on what's out there, and then writing emails to either your own representatives, senators, or those members of a committee that's having a hearing for the bills. That's where you want to try to nip it in the bud right there and hopefully get them to not pass it out of committee. That's the most efficient way to get rid of a bad bill. Make a phone call. Usually keep it simple too. Like you don't have to get super involved. You don't have to write like the Gettysburg Address. If you're writing a letter to them, you can keep things really simple. Just let them know, like numbers are important. If they get, 2,000 emails saying vote no on this, that makes an impression. So just kind of getting in there. And again, just, encourage your friends to do it and, help other people get involved as well.
And we've kind of proven as a community that we can make a difference. Like I said, when we talk politics, you got to speak on a third grade level to me because I'm very much not involved. It drives me crazy. I just want to shoot and have fun, but we all got to do our part. And when the ATF was looking at their pistol brace thing, they put up a comment section and we shared and a couple other big people shared, hey, everybody go and make your voice shown. And I kind of put up a little bit of a rant post like, hey, there's 20,000 comments on this so far, or not even 20,000 comments, and we have 60,000 followers. If every one of you takes 5 minutes to go and do this, and it really just takes 5 minutes, I could do it, we could triple the number of people. And a bunch of people went and commented, and the next day, they're like, they backed down on it. So
yeah, that was exciting. We
that
really,
was.
really do have a voice if we use it.
Yep. And so Alan has been watching. He gave you a big shout out for everything you do earlier. And he just said firearm owners are a silent majority. We need to be a vocal majority, which is very true. We really need to quit, sitting by while people come up, and the thing that amazes me is you'll watch these videos and we kind of just turn them into memes. But the people talking about our high capacity assault clips and
Yeah.
the 50 caliber AR-15 that shoots a hole in you this big, and these are the people that are making laws for to determine our freedoms and our rights. And we just need to make ourselves heard and get more people to band together and make them understand that we're not just going to kind of lay here and take what they give us.
Exactly. I feel like for us as competitive people, like we can't let them win. Like we just can't. Like it's not going to happen. But I think being that example too, where they're dealing with calm, rational people that can give them facts and provide reasons why if they're not familiar, because it is true there are people that know nothing about it are making laws for people who also know nothing about it. And so,
I mean, it's like the video that CNN posted of the person shooting an AR-15 that was most obviously a shotgun. And it's like, really? What? Oh, it's so frustrating. The amount of non-education. Like I took some of the girls from my work last Saturday and they wanted to go shoot handguns and learn. And so I took them and we shot handguns. But I also brought my AR-15 and they were like, we're going to shoot that? I was like, yeah, we're going to shoot that. Y'all are all going to shoot that. Well, it's going to hurt my shoulder. No, it's not. Trust me, I'm not going to do anything that hurts you. And they had the most fun shooting that. And, that's like the scary gun, right? That the news and everybody wants to vilify and make into this horrible gun that's, scary and everything else. They had the most fun. And I think that's a huge part of it is just getting some of the people that just don't know. I think it's a lack of knowledge. And if we can get it out to some of those people and let them actually see that it's not really that much different than a handgun. I understand it'll hold 40 rounds, blah, blah, blah. But like, it's just a fun gun. And you got to get to the fundamentals of like, what's the problem? It's not the gun. The problem is there are bad people and they're going to do what they're going to do, whether they have an AR-15 ball bat or a knife in France or a car where they run people over. So like de-weaponizing the actual gun. You know what I mean? It's not the gun that's the weapon. It's the person that's behind it that's doing it. And I think educating some of the people that just don't know is a huge part of it. And I think huge props to you because I know you do. I always see on your Facebook that you're, pushing legislation and different things and putting it out there, trying to educate people that just are not aware of what really is going on. It's very easy to not know.
Yeah, exactly. And people are busy. It's hard to find time sometimes. So if I can just, make it easier. I mean, that's my, my thing definitely. If like there's anything I can do to make it easier to participate and just get people in it, it's a good thing.
Yep. I think it's great.
Yeah, and you definitely do. A lot of times, I'll see you'll either what you're posting or sometimes you'll post with it, this is doing this. Whereas for me, I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh yeah, HB 9801. Wow, there's a lot of words there. And don't really know exactly what they're trying to do with it because that's kind of the way they do it.
Well, it's kind of sneaky, like the way that they do some of the bills. One of the bills that they just did in Washington State that just went through hearing, I think the title of the bill was like public safety. It wasn't like mag ban. It was like public safety. So they kind of hide things around, so it to make things sound reasonable. And kind of have to sleuth it out a little bit. But.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit about, I know when you got started, you kind of snuck in and RO'd some matches and used some of the advantages you got from ROing, like maybe some search from prize tables and things. Kind of talk about how you got into it through that route and how that went. Like, what were you able to get through ROing, and what's the advantage of doing that?
Yeah, and ROing is so much fun. Like it really is. And I got,
Really
I
is.
just lucked out really, like going with Blue Ridge Ranch and Jason and Sean and, everybody involved there. They're so nice and they were so welcoming. And I mean, I literally had never even looked through a spotting scope. Like I really did not know very much about watching targets or any of that kind of thing. And they were so nice to help, just help me learn. But that was the other thing too, is that there's so many companies and so many people putting on matches that are really generous with what they can offer for ROs, as well as, even a beginning shooter. US Optics at the time was doing a 50% off cert for a scope. So I was able to get my first scope that way. At one point I was able to get a cert for a training at Gunworks, which was really nice. I was excited about that, to go down and to with Bill and Kaylin and Ben. I'm trying to think what else. I kind of just went from there. Actually, really generous. What actually really kicked me into getting started was one of the Defiant shooters had a certificate for an action, for 50% off an action. And so they were nice enough to let me have that. And that's kind of what got my rifle build started, which is incredibly generous. I'm like so thankful for the generosity of so many people that, kind of took me under their wing and kind of helped me get started. And even just deciding, do I want to buy, like a RPR, a Savage, something off the shelf, or do I want to go with something custom? And so I kind of got the, buy once, cry once,
I was about to say, I think you went with something custom, didn't you?
I did. So, and, just, because of the generosity of some other people that helped me get started. So, all across the board, can't say enough about all of the people in my area that were, let me tag along. Nick Darcy, super helpful, letting me ask a million questions, tag along, go shoot. I'm sure I frustrated him a million times being a slow learner. And, yeah, so many, but I was able to kind of have some help with that, getting that first rifle started, and just kind of went from there.
That's awesome. I think it's a great testament to the people in the sport.
Yeah, and I'm totally all for the, you always hear people say, oh, go show up an RO match. People are like, do you want me to do what? You want me to be in charge of this match? But I showed up to RO a match, and very similar situation. Had no clue what I was doing. I went and watched one match before because I was way too scared to just go out and RO day one. So I watched a match, met a bunch of really awesome people, had a really awesome time, showed up the next match, RO'd with somebody I've never met before my entire life, but ended up, being able to sit there and watch how people shoot, watch how people game it, watch how people read wind, learned a whole lot from that. And then at the end of the match, it's like, I heard we'd be getting something, but we ended up getting taken care of really, really well with gift certificates that was able to, help me take my bone stock Remington 700 and turn it into something that I ended up shooting for most of a season before making any more changes to it. So it was really awesome.
Yeah, I've seen them where they, give away a rifle to an RO. I mean, there's just so many neat things going on to help encourage new shooters and get them in the sport.
Yeah, Eric Lindbergh said that it helps expose you to the sport and people and give back.
Yeah, it's great educationally too. You learn so much, like you were saying, to watch shooters negotiate a stage and how, what gear they use.
You get to see a lot of different approaches, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get to say hi to everybody. Like, it's great when you have your squad when you're shooting match, and that's always so much fun. But ROing, like, you really do get to see everybody come through your stage, and so it's always good.
So I I had not RO'd a whole lot just because of time off of work was difficult and all. But last year I RO'd at Regina's match in Arizona, and that was like the most fun ever. I had the best time doing that. And like you said, you see everybody come through, like everybody I got to like, well, so my stage brief might have been a little bit rough because I told them in not so many words that if they muzzled me, I would kill them. But I said it a little bit differently that would resonate a little bit more because my stage, they were all coming off of this tree branch and coming back with their muzzle. And I was like, if you point your gun at me, anyway, I won't tell you what I said to them, but so I got to see all of them and threaten them all. It was great. And so it was kind of cool to see the different approaches though for every single shooter coming through and how they approached that particular stage. And there's a lot of different strategies. It was kind of cool to watch and be like, oh, I'm not sure I would have done it like that. I wouldn't have thought of that. You know, it was really cool to watch the differences. And then I RO'd again at Mammoth Sniper Challenge. And that, again, was one that like, it was cool to get to kind of watch the thought process of the teams and be like, wonder why they're doing it that way instead of the way I would have done it. You know, it was very cool to see the different perspectives. So I think ROing is good for getting out there for that.
Yeah, that looks like a blast.
Oh, it was cold. I don't know about a blast. A blast would be warm,
yes.
and warm is not what it was. It was very cold. I was very cold. I had had my second COVID shot, and so I had chills on top of everything else and fell asleep multiple times. And Eric Lundberg may or may not have pictures of me sleeping in the truck. Anyway.
And on the ground.
And on the ground, possibly. Yes, there may or may not be pictures of me sleeping on the ground. Yeah, I was tired. That COVID vaccine will put you on your butt if you're tired. But anyway.
And it's so cold at the PRS finale for you too. Like you're getting like trial by fire.
The PRS finale was miserable. Like Oklahoma is not fun. I don't want to go back to Oklahoma ever again. It was so cold. Me and Regina both were miserable. If Gina's watching, she will vouch for me. We were miserable. It was awful. It was so bad that my bolt froze open on the last stage. Like I could not close my bolt because there was ice around it. It was frozen.
I saw that video. Like,
and I was like,
so calm.
I was like, oh my God, I wasn't calm. I don't know what you saw because what I saw was like a heart rate of like 180. Oh my God, my bolt won't shut. What is wrong with it? And I was like, so I came up off the gun and I was like, oh my God, it's stuck. Punch it. So like I literally punched it and made it close. But yeah, I don't like cold. Borrowing was really amazing to get to watch the different approaches, even if I was cold.
I'm about to say, last time I RO'd, it was also cold. It was at the finale, not this year, but last year at K&M, which is nowhere near as cold as Oklahoma.
Oh my God, Oklahoma was awful.
Somehow I got lucky and got the long range stage on top of the Connex in the shade. And it wasn't like terribly cold, but every time we had it, we were the first on that area. We were at the highest elevation of the whole match. We were in the shade, and everybody just came from the lowest elevation in the sun. They'd come up and be like, wow, did you guys know it's real cold up here? I'm like, next person to say that's going to get a stage DQ. Yes, we know it's cold.
Yeah, shut up.
But that was a lot of fun ROing the finale, actually, and getting to see all of the best shooters in the country go through and do their stuff. I wish it was you can only see so much watching a pro and long range stage. I do kind of wish that I had some sort of a props and moving so I could see how people approach that differently, because you got a real smooth trigger pull, and I'm sure that stuff's happening down there and in your head, but I can't see any of that. But it was cool to see everybody go through and shoot that.
Even seeing like people make either like such instinctive corrections or fast corrections on their win calls, like that's interesting to me too. Like some people are just so fast at making that correction.
Me too. I feel like on the clock, like if I think about a stage that I'm on, I feel like I'm like, pull the trigger, and then I'm like, hmm, that was like point 0.8 mils to the right. I should probably move left. Like, I feel like I'm so slow in calculating it and figuring it out and telling my brain what to do and then getting it to my finger and getting it to where I like adjust the reticle to where it needs to be. And so, like you're right, Marchand, some of these people you watch and they're like, whoop, and they immediately just
Oh
fix it.
yeah.
And it's crazy to watch. I like watching the different like positional stages and ROing and watching how different people attack it, especially if it's like different positions in one stage where they have to move, and you watch how
Yeah.
different people attack it and which order they do it in, and you're like, oh, that was fast. That is really good, and you can
Yeah.
kind of gain some knowledge on like how to attack a stage. So I definitely think ROing is very valuable for people to watch and kind of take it in and see what worked best for people.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep, I've definitely learned a lot watching other people. Where I'm now at some matches, the gamer at the match coming up with my own way to run a stage. We shot NRL 22X a couple weeks ago, and we were all sitting there looking at the stage and reading the stage brief, and it said starting position, rifle secured in tripod, one hand supporting the rifle, and it said you will engage the targets from the tripod. So we were laying on fat bags, shooting prone off of a tripod, and shooting the stage like super fast. That was a lot of fun. I'm trying to think a couple lives that we've had. We've kind of went through a lot of them already. We're gonna take a vote. Jeremy Swanee wants to know next time he's gonna be on the show. So shout out in the comments if you want another Swanee episode from the cigar bar, maybe from someplace else this time. And Wade asked, when is Swanee dropping more 105 hybrids on that? Also, Swanee, you should not answer that question publicly. You should shoot me a private message so that I know first, because I saw that as I was dropping chicken on the flat top, and like by the time I was done getting all down and everything, it was all gone. It was sad.
What else you got live?
I'm looking through. That is about it for right. Oh, Eric said what you told all your shooters in Arizona.
Oh, he put it in there.
Yeah.
I did. I'm sorry. I told him I don't want to look down your muzzle. I told him what I would do if I looked down their muzzle. I would attack them. But I don't think it was unreasonable.
No, me neither.
Oh, safety.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing that I still struggle with going from going from 3-gun into PRS is the rifles off the stage and the directions they're pointed, and
It wasn't even off the stage. It was a branch that they had to like go around with their muzzle, and they were pointing it at my head. Like, that's only going to happen one time. I'm just telling you what's going to happen when it happens. I was nice about it, I feel like. I didn't shoot anyone in the
ding ding.
Whatever. Anyway. All right, next question. So, you have a pretty awesome loadout. If you were to give a beginner advice on how to go about choosing their gear to start in precision rifle, what is your advice that you would give?
Again, that ROing thing is really beneficial because you'll get to see a lot of gear. You get to see a lot of rifles. People are really nice about letting you try things, get behind a rifle, see what they look like, different chassis. And I think, budget is something that's important. So, trying to decide, are you going to go with something off the shelf? Or are you going to go with something that's custom? And now there really are a lot of great options for, kind of a ready to go rifle. Even just in the few years that we've been doing this, I mean, just those options alone have really exploded. And then, yeah, ask a lot of questions. And then kind of making that decision. Do you want to go custom? Do you want to go with something else? And just go for it, really. I mean, like, to a degree, just jump in, that's kind of what I did. Like, I did spend some time ROing, probably about 6 months ROing before I was able to get a rifle put together and start shooting. But yeah, just jump in, start learning. People are so helpful. It's just going to be a good time. Just got to go and like immerse yourself in it and just learn.
Yep, I fully agree. And most shooters know that there's a lot of people that'll get into it through ROing, and we're all real nice people. We like what we have, and we want to see you end up with nice gear too. So if you're an RO and you come up and ask the shooter a question, preferably not right before they shoot a stage, right after a stage, totally cool. And we'll talk your ear off about what we have. You ask me what my awesome lime green chassis is, and be like, hey, yeah, this is PDC custom, it's available for these actions, they cost like this, hey, you want to get behind it, you want to feel it, oh, my cheek piece a little high for you. Most people are really cool about just kind of wanting to share with new shooters, and also help new shooters not make the same mistakes we did. My first chassis that I got was something, I still have it, but I cannot make it fit me. It just doesn't work. So I'd rather a new shooter come and get behind my rifle and, feel it.
Yeah, that's one thing I've said too, is like, don't feel like you have to buy everything to go to your first match and get started. It's like, get some of your basics, and then go see what's out there, try different bags, try different things that people have. Well, I still don't really have everything that I probably want to have, but it's taken me a few years to kind of add things as I went, because I wasn't sure what I wanted either. So, you don't have to feel pressure to have every single item immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I showed up to my first match like fairly prepared, and still, like, every stage, someone's like, oh no, here, try this bag, I think this will fit that prop better, try my bag's the best for this prop. And got to touch a bunch of different things. People let me look through their binos. I went a year and a half without decent binos. And I was just able to survive because everyone's so willing to share and let people try stuff out, let people borrow stuff. We really are a family, a community, and we just kind of want to support each other. And for all of us, the more people that are shooting, the better. Even though right now, like, it'd be cool, like, just hold off for a little bit, quit buying ammo. I'm trying to get some bullets.
I know, it's concerning. It's definitely, it's different. Yeah, I'm kind of thankful too. Really, a lot of what I started with is what I still am using. Again, I was, really happy that I got some good advice to start with. So, like, I started with the benchmark barrel, still love my benchmark barrel. Started with the Defiance Action, still love that. I still have my original OG Game Changer that is just on, and I love it so much. I do have a medium, which I'm kind of weaning myself off the original one, but I love them both.
We are in the same exact boat on that one. Like, I played with this medium, I love it, but man, my OG, like, my super awesome pro, the Gap Grind, won it for me. And like, I fell in love with that bag. It was a front bag, it was a rear bag, it was a pump, it was everything. And I still love that bag, but I got my medium, I love it, and I'm just like, it's a hard transition. It really is. That OG is an awesome bag.
Feels right. But those are great. And then actually I should ask Jen, how much is how much weight do you have on your MDT chassis?
It's not my MDT chassis. It's actually Sean Murphy's, who's amazing to me and helps me out when I have gun issues. But I don't know how much. So when I weighed my other rifle and I weighed his rifle, they weighed almost the same, but it feels a lot heavier. So I'm not sure, because it feels a little beefier. I don't know how to describe it, but it feels heavier. But they're both about 19 to 20 pounds, like mine and his. Like, if I And I did the old trick of like stand on the scale and not tell anyone how much I weigh, but then get on holding the rifle and do the math. And both of them were like, not, I mean, they weren't a half pound difference, which shocked me because his felt very much heavier. Do you think your MDT is heavy?
Well, that's kind of the cool thing. Like with the weights, you can like totally play around with it. And, you know, I probably messed around with the weights just, I don't know, every couple months sometimes just to like decide, like, you know, play around with it. Do I want the weight here?
Do I want to do? Yeah.
It's probably about 18 pounds, I think, typically. But yeah, like I was even thinking as I get started into the season, like I might switch my weights around a little bit again and just kind of see what I want to do. But I like that part about it because it's just so versatile.
He only had like 2 weights on it and they were kind of midpoint. It wasn't, it didn't make it nose heavy or butt heavy. I felt like it helped balance it. And so I didn't mess with any of the stuff he had on there, but it was probably a half a pound heavier than my other rifle, but it just balanced really well. So I didn't want to mess with anything because if I plop it on a barricade, it sat there. It wasn't going anywhere. It would just sit there. You know, I could like be like, oh, you sit here for a minute. I'll be back in like 30 minutes. I could go take a break and like have a hot bath and then come back and still be sitting there, you know? So because of that, I didn't mess with it. I didn't want to take any of the weights off or whatever because it did really, really balance well.
Yeah, I feel like that is one of the most balanced rifles I've ever seen. Like it balanced just as well, like sitting on a bag on a barricade as it did like plopped up in the corner.
Yeah, it balances well. So I didn't mess with it. It worked well.
So have you guys
have
heard
a question?
Have you guys heard about the International Precision Rifle Federation match? This whole international championship match that's going to be held in Spain in like the summer of 2022.
Yeah, that's looking really, really interesting. I haven't looked at all of the details, but I can already feel like there's a lot of excitement about it.
Yeah, a lot of the posts blew up. You know, people trying to figure out what they have to do to get on the team. Apparently, there's a bunch of other countries that are like, yo, why didn't we hear about this? Let us get in. So I think it's going to end up being huge. And I think they were saying it was going to be up to like 32 shooters per country or something. So it's going to be a huge match. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. I think it's going to be really cool to see, you know, what country ends up claiming the titles. I'm going to put a bet on this one though. I'm thinking Allison Zane is going to take it for the United States.
That would be amazing. That would be really, really awesome.
Yeah.
She is asking Daddy to take her to Spain. Not Mama.
Daddy.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
Great representative.
I saw that post and I'm sitting here at work and I'm, laying back, scrolling through, taking a sip of water, and it was just laughing so hard how she asked, but that was funny.
It was funny. She knew who to ask.
Mm-hmm.
She's a daddy's girl.
Mm-hmm.
We could send, just even a handful of youth shooters to that from the United States. Like, there's some really solid young people.
There really are.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting thing. It's just like the shotgun. They had a shotgun match that was an international match.
Ooh, that was a cold one too.
Not the international one. You were in that.
Right. The road to the world shoot match that I came in last place in.
But like Lena Michalik and Becky Ackley. Who else was in there? Becky, Lena.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I can't remember the other two people that were. It was 4 women that did the women's team. Anyway, but they went and shot internationally, and it was cool to see the head-to-head, country versus country. And USA did very well. So I think in PRS that the USA will do very well with that. I think it'll be cool. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if it's going to be all individual or if they're going to have like a like team representatives. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't done the research. You might have done the research already, Greg. I haven't had time to look, but I don't know if they're going to do like representatives of the US or if it's individuals from the different countries.
So I think it's going to be both. I think there's individual and team portions of the match where we'll come out with like the best shooter in the world and the best shooting country in the world.
USA.
But I think
Absolutely.
we'll learn a lot more about this pretty soon.
It'll be very cool.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a neat one to watch.
Maybe,
maybe
we could, we could start a GoFundMe on the shooter's mindset. So if you want live coverage, like awesome live coverage of this match, kind of like Jen gave us at AG Cup, we're going to start a GoFundMe, send TSM to Spain, and I'll hold the camera and Jen will do her little sports announcer stuff, only in English. And then we'll report back to you guys so you guys could all see it.
That's a great idea. That would be an amazing trip. That would be something else.
That really would. As soon as I heard about it, we got the press release the day before it went public. I was like, all right, guys, who's going to Spain with me? Come on, let's go.
It'd definitely be fun. Could be a fun adventure. So what do you have coming up in 2021, Marchand? What are your goals?
One thing I can say is that I have just missed shooting so much. Like 2020 just didn't really go anywhere for me, unfortunately.
You had an injury, right?
It was like kind of one thing after the other. So I'm really excited, and I'm still, I'm not 100% yet, but I'm really looking forward to just getting back out there. So I feel like I'm just kind of taking everything apart, looking like right back at all of the fundamentals. I have a little issue sometimes with slapping the trigger. I want to work on that. I definitely need to be faster, whether it's building a position or, making those corrections, that sort of a thing. I'm the same thing where I feel like I just, I'm seems like it's taking me a long time to decide what I'm going to do for a correction. Just, kind of jump back into it too. Like I'm trying to not, expect too much in the beginning because I've been off for a while, but just to get back in and just focus on, making good trigger pulls, building a good position, and having fun and just being a part of the whole sport. It was hard to watch from the sidelines this year.
I bet so. I know that's frustrating.
Yeah, I think one of the first things I want to do as soon as I can get back on my rifle is the craft challenge that has been out there for the craft rifle challenge, and just like do a baseline so that I can, maybe shoot that little skill test and then maybe do it again in a month or something. So with Chris Way has done that, and I know he's gathering data on it. I don't know if he'll be done with that by the time I get a chance to shoot it, but I'm kind of curious just to see, if I can follow some growth that way. And I just have a lot of work to do. Basically, I just need to get back to it.
I think that's all of us.
Yeah, I've not shot a centerfire match since Gap Grind, and I've not done much practicing either. And I didn't shoot horrible over the weekend, but man, did I realize how slow I got on some of those long range targets. It's like you can do a lot of practice with the 22, but inside 100 yards or whatever, you can only do so much. But it took me a while to get back full speed.
So what are your first matches of 2021?
I'm going to start off with a one-day match in March. It's kind of my goal. That's what I'm heading for. I did have a post-op appointment with my doctor today, and I think I was a little more ambitious than what she thought I should be, but that's kind of the goal. The next 6 weeks will really say a lot, but Rock Lake Rifle Range does a lot of monthly matches, which is it's just a great place to shoot. Doug puts on a good match all the time. And it's about an hour. Well, it's about 2 hours from my house, actually. So it's pretty close by. And he's got one in March that I will be trying to hit. And then another match, I think 2 weeks later. And it'll get pretty busy until June, really. Hopefully I can just kind of keep shooting my way through. the next couple months, and hopefully be a little more tuned up by that time. And then there's a little bit of a break in the summer for me. And then, usually it picks up again in the fall. And I don't really have a fall schedule necessarily yet, but
you need to come to the East Coast.
Yes.
I do.
Come shoot something out this way. Come shoot Gap Grind, or Gap Grind's that's probably my favorite match of the year that's on the East Coast.
Come do something in Augusta and you can just stay with me.
Yeah. We got Guardian at GTI. We have a charity benefit match at GTI as well. And so GTI, it's an abandoned nuclear facility just north of Augusta with like a 10-story tower to shoot off of. There's like all these like giant concrete pipes to walk through. It's a really cool place.
That would be a blast. Let's see. I think maybe Wyoming is the furthest east I've gone. So I definitely need to, I've been wanting to get somewhere, just like take a real trip with my rifle and go shoot a match, but it would be so fun with you guys.
Yeah, let us know what you're looking at. We'll set something up, especially if you shoot something close to us, we could turn it into a big party. Not quite as big a SHOT Show, but
Oh my gosh, that was a great time.
That was fun. Facebook.
We should have had Jorge on the show tonight with you.
Oh dang!
Oh, Jorge!
I totally should have done it. Isn't he like a chief now?
He's something. He's got his name on the door.
I need to hit him up and be like, Jorge!
We should do a show with Jorge.
He should.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think
ask him.
He's doing good back in Nevada.
I just said, are you watching the show? We are talking about you.
Oh, he's going to have to go watch the whole hour trying to figure out when we were talking about him.
I mean, he's a smart cookie, so he could look and say it's 10:06, so it was probably an hour and 6 into the show.
But we started late, so that'll confuse him. I love how you said smart cookies. I'm looking through comments and I scrolled through, and right as you said cookies, I scrolled through Corey's comment. He said, and it's gone. Something #cookies.
Oh, he's doing military things, so he can't watch the show tonight. Well, he said not, unfortunately. Well, watch it later or die.
Yeah, that was definitely some really fun times at SHOT with everybody. That was just such a great group of people.
We had fun on the high roller.
That
and with Jody, our friend from Australia.
Jody.
I need to do a show with Jody because I miss some Jody. She's going to come to the U.S. and spend some time here, and she better spend some time at my house because we've already talked about it. But
I'm about to say, she already said she's coming to stay with you, so I hope you got the bedroom ready.
We're going to have girl time and tear the town down. It's going to be Augusta will never be the same.
This is awesome.
It will never be the same. Augusta is not ready for me and Jody.
You should just come that same week. It'll be like SHOT Show week in Augusta.
In a little podunk town, but anyway.
It's not that little podunk.
Yep.
We have murders. That makes us like a real town.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. All right. What else? You got any more lives?
Lots of shout out. Hay's gonna walk over somebody's grass. I'm assuming he's talking about Shannon, just because who else's grass does Hay talk about? Corey said we should do a show with the Aussies. We did decide we are doing a Swanee show at some point in time. Well, at least all of our guests decided, so we'll do another Swanee show sometime soon. Corey said Keely makes killer cookies. I really want some cookies now. Eric's also talking about said cookies. Hay said Jorge. Jeremy said somebody should shoot Regina's match in September. I'm assuming all of us should shoot Regina's match in September because it's Regina's match. So that would be awesome. Corey said we need I haven't done shit in 2020 class. That would be a good question. Mike Bell wants to know what caliber do you shoot?
I'm shooting 6 Creedmoor.
Awesome. Oh, I remember what the other question is that I lost. Somebody asked if you've started reloading yet.
Kind of. This is a terrible time to start reloading. I have also some, great friends that have kind of helped me cobble together a little reloading area at my house. And I was off work for about 2 months with COVID we were shut down. And so I kind of started a load development. I didn't really come up with anything consistent, but it was really hard to not have anybody there to kind of see what I was doing either. So I tried some FaceTime, some things with people, but that's kind of gone on the back burner for the moment. But I would really like to learn, and it will get there eventually.
Awesome. It's I know some people switch back and forth in between factory ammo and reloading, especially now when it's like, I found ammo in stock, but I have no primers. So it's a really good skill to be able to have be able to go either route, just depending on what you can find in our unfortunate times where it's impossible to find anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And Ryan, hey, for the record, the heads on the stick are dead. They're not coming back out.
Not all the heads on the stick.
Do you understand? Dead. They're not coming back out.
Not all the heads on the stick are dead. She's not even looking. She's not looking.
I'm ignoring you. I'm an ER nurse. I could kill you and no one would know I did it.
No, all of our fans will. We went through this at the beginning of the show. I have all of our fans as witnesses. If anybody ever sees my obituary, just know it was Jennifer.
The heads on the stick are dead, Ryan Hay. Dead. You hear me? You're my good friend. Dead.
Sam Phelps commented. He said, "That's the best head on the stick," referring to this cool one up here.
Sam, you are part of that. You are an evil person. You are in on that and you know it.
Marchand, have you seen my head on a stick?
I feel like vaguely I remember something about heads on a stick.
Yeah. Here, let me get in and show it to you real quick. Oh. This is Thug Life, Jennifer.
It's a little bit creepy that you have my head on a stick. I'm just saying.
I mean, doesn't everybody want one of these?
No one wants one of those.
Just gonna.
Sam Phelps, you are dead to me. I'm just saying. For sending that to him, you're dead to me. What happens in Wisconsin? Wait, I have to say it right. Not Wisconsin, but it's Wisconsin. What happens in Wisconsin should stay in Wisconsin. But it followed me back to Georgia.
And now it's all over the world.
Sam Phelps is a horrible person. I'm just saying.
I still haven't met Sam, and he's still probably like one of my best friends ever.
No, saying. Not the case. Sam, you're not my friend. Anyway, any more lives?
No, I think we're good with those ones over there.
Okay. I think we're good on our questions too. So I think we're going to wind down to shout outs. So Greg, you go first.
Thanks for putting the spotlight on me. I would like to start out with GSL suppressors and Classic Jewelry and Loan for holding my babies for 5 months while the ATF waited on my approval. Shooters and Sharpshooters of Augusta, our local indoor and outdoor ranges. PDC Custom for the most beautiful rifle chassis known to man, available in lime green and normal human colors. Shooters World Propellant. They are finally, I know every show I've been like, yeah, it's everywhere. The demand has finally caught up to the supply. They're running a little bit low right now, but they got another massive shipment on the way. So They may be dwindling for a couple of weeks, but they'll be back on the shelves, restocked real soon. You can still find it in stock someplace. It's not like trying to find that Varget stuff that you guys like for some odd reason. Hunter's HD Gold, because I am super blind and have horrible vision, and they make me feel less blind. You can get, they got just their off the box shooting glass, out of the box shooting glasses, but you can get those with prescription lenses. You can send them your frames. They could put in regular HD Gold lenses or prescription HD Gold lenses, even like fancy transition bifocals, set up however you want. They got something for everyone. So if you're really looking to increase your vision on the stage, that's the way to go. And Bortec, because you're supposed to clean these things. They work a lot better that way.
Marchand, you got any shout outs?
Well, I would be happy to give some shout outs to some great companies that I've been able to work with the last couple years. Can't say enough nice things about them. MDT has been incredibly supportive for me. I love my ACC chassis, great shooting team, some of the nicest people around. Everybody at the company is just so ambitious. They've just grown so much the last couple of years, and it just seems like they're constantly trying to improve things and come up with new things. And I think they'll have some exciting things coming out this year. Armageddon Gear, again, love my OG Game Changer, but I like some of my new bags as well. Such a fun company. Just great people to be around. Don't get to see them very much because they're over on your side of the country. Benchmark Barrels. Also great company from my state of Washington. They're coming out with, they have a new carbon fiber barrel, which is kind of exciting. Bone Scope, I know, as you guys all know and love. I'm excited to get back out there and be filming some of my shots so I can get some constructive practices. And then Defiance Machine, which again, one of my very favorite companies. Just such wonderful people, very generous. Another one that's just grown tremendously in the last few years. They've just expanded to try to get those actions out faster to everybody. And just really happy to get to be a part of their teams, and just wonderful people.
That's awesome. So for me, it's just I'm kind of paring down. So shout out to Shooters of Augusta and Sharpshooters of Augusta here locally to me that have always been good to me and helped me out, and GSL Suppressors for keeping me civilized, at least some of the time, right? And Night Force Optics, and that's going to be all of my shout outs for one night. So with that, I just want to tell Marchand, thank you for spending a whole 2 hours with us of your night. I know it's been 2 hours almost that you've hung out with us. So I want to thank you for that, because I know it's a lot of, people's time is very important. So it's a lot to have that. So I appreciate it. And past that, we will just say thank you to everybody for episode 325 of the Shooter's Mindset. And we will be back next week.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.